away and recognize and celebrate two other MLK hard workers and recipients of the MLK Heritage Award, James Gramling and Jonathan Gramling. All right, let me introduce them first, James A. Gramling has used his legal skills to serve as an advocate for the legal rights of individuals in Kansas City, Missouri, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin for nearly 40 years. During the 1970s and 80s, he served as a public interest attorney specializing in fair housing issues. From 1986 to 2007, he was the presiding judge in the City of Milwaukee Municipal Court. And during that time, he wrote the initial decision in the City of Milwaukee versus Eloise Roden, declaring the authority of municipal judges to decide constitutional issues and finding the city's hindering and officer ordinance unconstitutional, later upheld by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Since leaving the bench, he has continued to render service with many organizations, including the Parkland YMCA, the Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiative, and many, many more. A hard-working Wisconsin. Jonathan has been involved in civil rights and other issues for the past 30 years. As a student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Jonathan made dozens of trips to rural Mississippi through Project Self-Help and Awareness, working with local residents to install plumbing in houses and to harvest food crops. Jonathan is also co-author of several successful Madison Metropolitan School District proposals to the federal government that created community learning centers at many elementary schools. He assisted in several transitions of leadership at Centro Hispano during the 1990s, and he spent several summers, many, almost a half dozen. He's been at the University of Wisconsin's People program, teaching middle school students how to create a newspaper. Please welcome both James A. Gramling and Jonathan Gramling. Both are 2010 MLK Heritage Award.
I received this award with my brother John. I've always admired his selflessness, his commitment to fairness and community. He's one who truly lives the King message. I had an opportunity recently to think about people who have helped shape my life, and they ranged quite a group. They ranged from a very wily first-grade nun in Elm Grove to a professor at the law school here, a paragon of justice, to a very hardened and proud public housing tenant in Kansas City, to a very wise judge in Milwaukee County. And it's at times like this that I must give tribute to people like this in my life. Of course, the most indelible impression is left by family and close friends, some of whom are over here today. John and I are lucky to have had two wonderful parents, Claire and Jim Gramling, two very quiet teachers of life. I'm very proud and think highly, or think that the work that I've been involved in is important. Most recently, the effort to try to assure that our fellow citizens who need a driver's license, this passport to employment, this passport to self-esteem, are not kept from it because of their low-income status. So I think it's important work, but I also at the same time don't believe I've accomplished anything to deserve an award named after Dr. King. So I'm going to accept this award in the aspirational sense as a gift of encouragement to keep on trying, to try to make sure that we all get to that mountaintop. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Brother Jim. I admire you as well. And I do attribute my interest in civil rights to my brother Jim when he was a seminarian way back in the day in the mid-60s, and he used to take me to St. Paul's Church. I think it was down at about 3rd Street. in Milwaukee for fish fries and things like that. And that pretty much kind of started my path to awareness of the world outside of the small world that I was raised in. I have to thank, I could give a keynote speech on all the folks I ought to thank who have touched my life, but I won't. I do have to thank Heidi for sticking by me all these years. Lord, I don't know why she sticks with me after all these years, but she still does. I guess it takes a journalist to understand a journalist. And I do want to say that while I am still celebrating the election of Barack Obama 1 year later, and I don't know about everybody else, but I'm getting at least at 80–90%. Now these other folks are kind of talking about him, but I know what he's up against in Washington, D.C., and I'm very proud of our president. In spite of, the accomplishments of President Obama, the accomplishments of the Doyle administration with Michael Morgan and many others in terms of allowing African-American leadership and others to rise to the surface, as the publisher of the capital city Hughes, during the past year, I've also witnessed the long unemployment lines over at job service, that I've noticed the long lines at the food pantries, that I've covered stories where there are so many disproportionately incarcerated young African-American men, and that we still have high dropout rates in our schools. But of course, kids are also achieving. But in many of those instances, it's primarily brown and black faces who occupy that. So although we have started with Dr. King's beloved community, although we kind of see the first raise of that day, we have a long ways to go before we really achieve Dr. King's beloved community. So again, I want to thank all of my friends, and I love you all.
In my distress, broken-hearted, I've tried my best. I've been battered and tossed by raging sea, but I still have my Savior, the truth.